We're live. Hello, 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 hello. I'm going to ask each of you, first of all, I am happy to be here tonight at YouTube, coaching you for you, and at What Trenton Really Makes. This is one of those times when everybody on this podcast wants you to put all of this is operative, in the streets. So tell somebody about them. Tell somebody what they're doing and share their experience, strength, and hope. We have tonight Tracy, Jassy, TC, myself, and Palmer. Good evening, all.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
So,
Evening.
Good evening.
quickly, we're here on behalf of the Trenton African American Cultural Collaborative of Mercer County. And we also have several exciting guests here with us this evening. And so I'm going to start at the top with Tracy Syfax and ask Tracy just to introduce himself and tell us what his specialty is.
Wow. My name is Tracy Syfax. I'm author, entrepreneur, real estate developer. My specialty, I believe, is entrepreneurship. I believe that's my specialty. I believe the fact that I'm a serial entrepreneur owning multiple businesses. I think entrepreneur.
All right. All right. Come on, TC. What you got?
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Hello, Miss Annette. My name is TC Cuthbertson. I am the owner and proprietor at the Falls Banquet by Event Rooster. Event Rooster is both an event design, entertainment, and catering company. Well, both design and entertainment as well as catering. We're here in Bucks County. I'm also a huge supporter of policy in the urban community. So I promote policy and ideas and solutions to problems that affect Black America and urban environments. So I'm just an all-around good guy. Happy to be here.
Ah, you running for office?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Oh, and so politics. Just remember this tonight. If you guys get everything else, get this too. Principle and policy before personalities. Let's go, Jassy. You're muted.
I'm Rossi Edwards, and I am co-founder of Operation Rebuild Trend, where we focus on engaging residents in social, civic, and economic activities, such as this financial literacy event coming up. So I'm just happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Palmer.
Yeah. Hey, Ms. Lartigue, I'm being sure not to say ma'am. My name is Palmer Richardson. I currently work as an assistant city attorney for the city of Trenton. I am just excited to be here. I also am the owner of the law office of Palmer J. Richardson Esquire, which specializes in real estate. And before we begin, I'd be remiss. I was speaking to my uncle earlier, and he just said, how much of an honor, how much of an awesome person you are, and how much of an honor it was to work with you. That's Mayor Doug Palmer. So I'm, just excited to work with this great team on this financial literacy event, and push our city forward.
Hear, hear, Doug Palmer. Thank you. And as we move forward, I'm going to be Annette tonight. Annette. No ma'am, no Mrs. Annette. Okay? I want this to be a friendly, engaging conversation. I don't want to feel like, I'm addressing you by your first name and you're addressing me as ma'am and miss. Okay? Fair enough?
I got it in here, Annette. I ain't gonna forget it.
You got it. And so we're talking about the African American Cultural Collaborative of Mercer County and its partnerships. And tonight we're talking about the Black Wall Street legacy, which is sitting before you right here. In spite of everything that happened, the legacy is still here. Tonight, I have a few questions for you guys. I might even sing a little bit and tell you a joke, but neither here nor there. Here's the first question. Tell me about financial literacy. Tell me just what it means to you and what the goal of the collaborative and its partnerships mean. That's open.
I guess I'll go. Break the ice. Um, you said so to tell you what financial literacy means. Um, to us, it just means knowing what your personal goals are, knowing how to survive paycheck to paycheck, and not just surviving, but to live and to grow wealth, to pass down to the next generations to come, and not only within your personal family, but within the community as well, collectively, buying houses, ownership, entrepreneurship, business development, growth period financially, to build back that Black Wall Street. And as far as our partnership, so um, I'm not sure if Palmer wants to take this part, the intro to all of this.
Yeah, we have. So I mean, we're excited to say that we have a number of partners from, of course, ORT to Great Falls, ran by our very own personal celebrity Trevor Noah, also known as TC Covison. Um, we have Harks Realty, Wells Fargo, uh, uh, um, from the block to the boardroom. I mean, a number, and it's really amazing to see the support that is in this community for the community.
Yeah.
Uh, it really throws us to think that we started this idea over the summer, and through all the support that we got, I mean, we're about to start our first event, and it's just it floors me every day to see where we're going.
Right. And we're just excited that we were able to build partnerships in the community because, in inner city communities, working together is hard. Everybody wants something for themselves, and we run into a lot of I instead of we's and a lot of things like that. So it's very refreshing to work with a group of organizations and individuals that know the assignment and they understand it and they execute it. So it's very refreshing. We don't have to micromanage anyone. No one has to, no one's power struggling or anything like that. It's a beautiful partnership, and we're all working very hard to gather all of the best resources that we can to provide the best information that we can to the community for free.
And that's important. Literacy with respect to our finances, because our money matters everywhere. And
Absolutely.
so often I hear folks say, um, I don't want to build in a urban center. I don't want to invest in an urban center. Why not? The other folks who come here from everywhere else and invest are getting rich, and it's our dollars. We have to learn how to spend wisely. Anybody else want to hit on that before I move forward? All right. Who are the team members and how long has planning been underway? And I think, Palmer, you started to speak to some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the you know, so again, it's a partnership through a number of organizations. At the beginning, though, this started as a part of the amazing Juneteenth event that the collaborative put on, uh,
Hmm.
in June. And Miss Latasha Burke, the great Miss Latasha Burke, was so kind to ask for. She used the event that she worked so many years on to give young adults like me, Jossie, and TC a platform. She had asked that we assist her in adding a entrepreneurial piece to it, and from that we essentially were able to me and Jossie got together and we developed a program. Well, we actually spoke about how important financial literacy was. It happened to be that this past year, in addition to the first Juneteenth event, was also the century-long remembrance of Greenwood and all that took place during that fateful day. But it was also a celebration of what it
Yeah.
was prior to the rioting. And we were able to use that essentially as a platform to develop more. After we gave a speech the day of the kickoff, I think that was June 18th. And after the speech and initiative that we were able to work on, where we gave pamphlets out to citizens listing financial literacy resources and things of that nature, Wells Fargo actually contacted us and said that, hey, we'd want to sponsor some programs, and we want for you to submit to us a proposal listing what you would do and get it to us. And we did. It was me and Josh and Latarsha. We submitted it. They gave us back $10,000. We then said, hey, look, we're going to need great people to get this together. And immediately we thought of Tracy Syfax,
Yeah.
thought of TC Cuthbertson, we thought of Kenita Bullock, we thought of Joanne Morrison, Robin Hall, Farida Stokes. I hope I'm not missing anyone. Gerald Trueheart, and Stacy Denton at Upper Bound, and a few others. And together, I mean, we were able to really put down this great event. And to Jossie's point earlier, I mean, to have all these great people with all these great achievements working together on a solid mission, and every meeting that we had was productive, efficient, and also fun. It's amazing. It really is. And this is just the first that we're going to do on November 6th. I know we're going to talk about later, but there will be many more to come, and I'm so excited to see that work.
I'm excited as well. And I just want to point out here, I realize that everybody has their own special niche here tonight, but I want to shout out Mr. Syfax, and I can call you Mr. Syfax, right? No, Tracy
You call
Syfax.
me Tracy. I'm Tracy. I ain't
He's not
Mr.
going to
And
see,
I ain't sir. I'm Tracy.
and that's what I like. See that? Right from the block to the boardroom. And that
Yeah.
concept, I've told you from the very beginning, was a movement. It was so much more than a book. The book, great, but the movement is even bigger. And I'm excited about where you guys are going in this. So you spoke to Wells Fargo. Did you have other sponsors?
Absolutely. I don't want to take on this, Jossie.
Yeah, we got Walmart. I believe we got sponsorship from them, and we also have Event Rooster TC from the Falls. They are a huge sponsor as well, and I believe that was. Let me pull it up real quick. I believe those were the two financial sponsors. Operation Rebuild Trenton as well. The nonprofit I run. We did fundraisers throughout the summer to raise money. So we donated $500 towards the initiative. Walmart donated $500 to the initiative. And there are other people, a lot of the consultants like Tracy Syfax, who is donating his services to the event, Kenita Bullock, Sheldine, Robin Hall. These are all things that they do professionally that collectively they're coming to provide for free. So we have a lot of sponsors, whether it be monetary or services.
It all matters.
Yeah. And can I just add to that? Just the importance, I think, of partnership. And I really, thank Palmer and Jossie and TC for pulling together these partnerships. I realized as a 27-year entrepreneur that partnerships, it doesn't happen unless you have strong partnerships. And to have an event like this that doesn't cost our community a dime, to begin to learn about financial literacy and how we begin to build our own Black Wall Street in 2020. It's just such an awesome feeling. And just to be around folks who I'm twice their age, to know that they're out here doing this. I was just down in
Speak for
Atlanta.
yourself, Tracy.
I was gonna say you were not.
I ain't saying, listen, it took me a long time to get here. I'm loving every bit of it. I'm loving every bit of it. But listen, I was down in Atlanta 2 months for Invest Fest 2 months ago. And, that was my first time actually going to an event like that. But to be in Atlanta and see 8,000 young people in line, and it wasn't a concert, talking about how we invest in cryptocurrency and real estate and stocks and all those things. But, so it's just a great feeling to be involved with this group. It's just a great feeling to see our young folks are realizing that, yes, we have to control the economics in our community. So I'm just proud and I'm just glad to be a part of this organization and what they're trying to do.
Absolutely. Controlling the economics in our community makes the difference. It's a game changer. Financial literacy is a game changer. And most don't understand it. We have folks doing things they shouldn't be doing, and they're using their mind for that. Imagine if they invested in properties and started building and started renovating the neighborhoods. Just imagine. Imaginations are real. TC, you're one of the sponsors here tonight. Talk to me.
Yes, Annette. I am one of the sponsors. Almost got me there.
I heard him
it's
coming.
going it's going to be difficult. Yes, I'm one of the sponsors. I jumped at the opportunity when it presented itself to be connected to such a great organization, such a great team, mastermind of different individuals from different industries, sectors, walks of life, to be able to introduce financial literacy or
Hmm.
reintroduce financial literacy to the Trenton and Greater Trenton area. It was something I just couldn't pass up. So when the invitation was extended, I accepted it joyfully, and we are happy to be one of the presenting sponsors for the series. Remember, this is not just one event on November 6th. This is three different isolated specific events targeted towards reintroducing the community to financial literacy, which is very important. And that's something I definitely want to attach my name and my brand to. Tracy talked about partnerships. I want to talk about initiative, just the
Yeah,
initiative, just the effort, and that like that internal calling that says, "Hey, we need to do a little bit more than just make money for our own business, our own brands, and keep that money in our pockets." No, we need to spread this wealth of information to our community, to people
yeah,
that might not be privy to the information that we've been exposed to. So that's a calling. I think it's a little bit more than just an opportunity to invest. It's a calling. It's something that I'm called to do to help to contribute to my community. And so this opportunity is one that comes, not very often. So I was very excited to participate.
I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that there's going to be a series. Tell me a little bit about that series. But before you do, I'd like to ask each of you to take back to the collaborative that you request from the Trenton Board of Education that this be a credit or extra credit opportunity for the students.
Can I say that it is, and that
All
we
right.
and we had so Palmer and Latarsha and I, we had a meeting. Courtesy, thank you to Pastor Gerald Trueheart, uh, to the Board of Education, where we introduced this financial literacy initiative and year-round program to them, and we received a resolution. So it is on their parent board. They are circulating it and encouraging people to register. And also, one of their finance teachers at Trenton High, Crystal Feliciano, is our host, and she is also providing or giving 50 points to her students that come there, extra credit. So, and I know other finance teachers have been given the permission to do so as well, to provide extra credit. And we do have upper bound who is receiving credit for the full day as well. So those are some of the incentives we definitely have been targeting.
That's important. That's critical to the
Yeah.
success of this program because tell me a little bit before we go back to the logistics and the series. Tell me a little bit about the audience you want to target. Of course, we want to target, the schools. We want to start talking to kids about these things early. But what is the other target area? Who are you looking to target beyond the schools?
Those lost generations, or well, let me rephrase it, the generations of people who did not receive financial education. So currently Trenton is does have a financial literacy curriculum in which we also are partnering with them, so we will be going into schools and things, but we want to target those adults that miss this educational piece in school. And it is showing in their day-to-day lives. We want to target the people that needs help building their credit, understanding how to get paycheck to paycheck, creating a budget, coming up with personal and professional goals, 1 to 5 year plans, how to invest and get insurance, health insurance, life insurance, 401ks and stocks and things like that. We're targeting people, adults as well, that can use this information. And it's pretty much a reinforcement for the current students in high school, because that's the age that we are targeting, 13 and up, but more so geared towards those adults that didn't get a chance to get this in school.
And so, as we speak to school, please speak to the One Stop at Mercer County. They're a partner with the collaborative, and these are workshops that could also be a part of what they have to do to be in compliance. If you haven't already, and I see you guys are ahead of the game, please consider that opportunity as well.
I'm writing it down.
The
Because
One
our
Stop.
next one is a business development and entrepreneurship workshop. So that'd be great for people looking for a new career to get into or to elevate their current LLCs and things like that at, just starting up, because we have business consultants that are going to be there pulling people from the audience and giving out their free consultation services to help you grow your business. So you definitely don't want to miss this. So
You don't want to miss it. And the other population I want you to go hard for is the reentry population,
there you go.
because that population is underserved. And so if you would consider those things, I would appreciate it. These are things that I can ask. So tell me about the series.
Well, can we do that reentry piece real quick if Tracy doesn't mind speaking about that real quick? Because I'm glad you're bringing up all these points.
Come on, Tracy.
No, absolutely, absolutely. As you know, Annette, I've spent my 27-year career masquerading as a successful businessman, but really deep down inside, I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate through and through for the reentry population.
Right.
I believe those brothers and sisters all across this country are some of the most talented, innovative, and creative people I've ever met. I met going through prison. So just to be able to now tap into that talent now, and as we talked about earlier, having those partnerships. So we've been able to partner with Bank of America, the African American Chamber of Commerce, so many other institutions to put on free entrepreneurship programs for formerly incarcerated people, recognizing that they have that talent. So we offer that now, the opportunity for them to come learn the 20 lessons of 40 concepts of entrepreneurship that we teach. And that's specifically for impacting community. Because one thing I always believe in that is that the war on drugs was never just aimed at Tracy Syfax. The war on drugs was targeted at the entire community. So that entire community has been devastated, and we must begin to work with the entire community and not just the people that have been harmed by the war on drugs.
And so many of us have been shout out to John Harmon for the work he's done and the work he continues to do. These are the things that matter, bringing us to the table. And listen, they're building, they need to understand, that means anybody who's at the table and not including us, need to understand they don't need to raise the fence, they need to extend the table. Let's get that table extended, and let's get, our people, our community involved and into these series. So Tracy, reentry is a big deal. And I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I just think I'll just end with this. I just think when we talk about reentry and real crime solutions and how we really decrease crime in our neighborhoods, we have to start thinking what I like to say, think outside the cell. We have to
Think
start thinking
outside
outside
the
the cell.
cell. I like that.
Because when we offer folks an opportunity for employment, for entrepreneurship, or for education, we decrease crime.
Right.
Tracy.
And he was brought to the table for that target audience.
Yes. And thank you, Tracy. Create that podcast. Think outside the cell. Because you can bring that story to the country. Think outside the cell. Palmer, when you think about doing the work you do, TC, Jossie, even myself from afar, in contributing to different nonprofits, the idea is to think, get away from the box, get outside the cell. I like that podcast, Tracy. Come on, you're a businessman. Think outside the cell. Let's get it done. And so, let's talk about the series, Jossie, or whoever's, targeted to do that. And let's talk about, does this series cost? Is this series free? Is it open? Give me some dates. Give me the series. Run it down for me. Come on, let's go.
Okay, so starting off with our first series, this one is geared more towards personal finance. So it's on Saturday, November 6th, and it is a full day event from 11 to 6. Lunch is provided, admission is free. There is a requirement to register in advance because we do need the final numbers for our food count, courtesy of Event Rooster, the Falls, for being
Hey.
that sponsor for the food for all three events coming up. So this first one is about personal finance, beginning with breaking bad spending habits and talking about how we could be financially irresponsible and things like that, and how we can, develop some healthy spending habits because not all debt is bad debt. Liabilities versus assets, and then moving into credit building, ensuring an investment, and then finally that fourth panel, which TC and Tracy are also on. So that one is about building wealth through ownership, through home ownership and entrepreneurship. So that's our first event. We
And
have so many giveaways. Go ahead, Palmer.
there's one more too, on just general investing
Yeah,
advice.
investing in
That will
insurance.
be
Yeah,
presented by Kenita Bullock.
yes. So
Is
we're
Kanita an investor?
Absolutely. She's actually the owner of Master Plan. And my mother being a Delta, I'm never too shy to brag about a Delta. She has also been nominated as or named
Calling all
Outstanding Independent.
AKs to the
And
floor.
look,
just started
look,
something now.
that made me in trouble. I didn't tell her to sing it.
Oh,
Listen, I didn't tell her to sing that.
got some alphas, but we need some more. Oh, oh, excuse me, I got
Listen,
distracted.
Nancy, I gotta let
Oh,
see my
oh,
mom.
Palmer.
I gotta go. Um,
Yeah, you got a Virgo over there. I don't know about that one.
My
um,
girl Karen.
so, but yeah, she's top, name top 40 under 40. Just, everyone who's presenting, from Sheldon Millington, who's going to do our first panel, to Miss Robin Hall and Miss Joanne Morrison, who'll be doing our second, to Kanita, who's doing our third, to Mr. Syfex, Mr. Cuthbertson, Patrick Hall, and Farida Stokes, one of your Soros, who will be doing our fourth. We have an amazing panel, just great talent coming up, and as TC said, willing and called to share the information with the community. So that's the first event, Josh.
Right. And I just want to put emphasis on the fact that not only are people are going to be sitting and listening. This is such an engaging event. Like people are going to be getting pulled on stage. Everyone's going to be receiving a budget planner. The first 50 people are going to be receiving a free copy of Financially Irresponsible by Rakeem Sabri. He's a Black author from New York, our our neighbor up there. So we're bringing quality. You're going to be taking notes. You're going to be hands-on. We have a networking lunch for an hour and a half where you're required to, our guests are going to be required to go to each networking table. They're going to be, Mike Rosen has an entrepreneurship program. Tracy Syfax from the Block to the Boardroom has an
Yeah.
entrepreneurship program for reentry
Mhm.
people. So there is, it's going to be so many. It's maybe about 15 vendors. So moving into the second event, the entrepreneurship and business development workshop. That is going to be December 11th downtown. Sorry, back up a little bit. November 6th is going to be at the New Jersey State Museum Auditorium downtown Trenton. Our second event, December 11th, is at Mercer County downtown at the James Kearney campus. And that event is going to be a little bit different. So everyone is going to be in one room at the first event, but this second one, we want to get a little bit more focused and break everyone up into groups of 30 or 35. So it's 150 guest capacity. And we're going to be doing breakout rooms where you're going to be rotating. Everyone's going to get a chance to go to all 4 rooms to learn something specific about starting up their LLC or their S corp, their C corp, or whatever it is. Learning how to do that, what to do, how to file your taxes and things. We have a room for how to build business credit instead of personal credit, how to pay your employees off of your business credit line instead of your liquid cash and things. So when shutdowns happen, you have credit you don't have to get rid of that liquid cash. So you're protecting yourself and separating your personal from your business and learning how to do that, how to market and network and communicate and build up your customer base, how to identify what your customer base is, how to grow your business. Because we know that a lot of businesses statistically don't make it past the first year, 50% of businesses. And it, decreases the further you go. A lot of businesses don't make it to 5 years, but in the city of Trenton, we see it's I don't know what the culture is here and why we can't figure it out, but businesses don't survive long here if anyone's noticed.
So,
So,
Jesse, I want to interrupt you for a minute, if I may,
mhm,
for 2 reasons. Number one, I want you to go through the series quickly, what the class is, what the series is going to be. And
mhm.
number two is when you talk about businesses, I think the most important thing for people to realize is they have to know the difference between working on their business and working in their business. That in and of itself creates a lot of failure. So if you would please just quickly go through the series and what you're going to be offering.
So, well, that's what we're going to be offering a series of. So, the next event is a series of breakout rooms, focusing on those different areas, business credit, marketing, and promoting, and things like that. So, there's 4 breakout rooms, and also we have the networking lunch as well, lunch included, free admission, networking and visiting the vendors, and we have our giveaways and things like that. For the third event is going to be in February. The date is TBA. I'm sorry, and that one's about closing the racial wealth gap and the history of the Black dollar and how we can focus on circulating and get longer in our communities. TC, I'm not sure if you heard that. That third event, this looks like your first time hearing that. So, like, that's the one we're really excited about. That's during Black History Month. So we want to focus on circulating the dollar in the Black community longer. How do we keep the money in our community to build it up? How do we focus on business development, economic development, home ownership? So those are what those events are about. And that location for that event is going to be at Trenton High, the main campus.
So one of the things we're going to do for you is we're going to take how many series are in this event?
So we have 3 events within the program itself. So we have 3 events, and then after that we're going to go into smaller monthly things, smaller initiatives.
So one of the things I'd ask you guys to do is to make sure they put together a list of them, and let's keep pushing that list out. When
Mhm.
it is, what it is, and what they're going to be doing. They have to see, hear, and touch it over and over and over again. I'd also request that these are phenomenal series that you consider also keeping the speaker both in person and virtual because
So
you want to be able to. I will boost you out the entire day if that's what it requires because I want to get this message out. Go ahead.
And that's one thing I actually want to say too, is that all these events will be streamed. Now we have to work out how the second one will be streamed. The first one, November 6th, will be streamed. So right now we have a capacity of 175 people. To anyone who's listening to this podcast who can't get in because they couldn't register on time, one, we do invite you to show up. You never know, we might have some more room. But two, understanding the importance of this information, importance of information that's going to be given out, we have already taken strides to ensure that it will be available on multiple platforms, both live that day and then consistently going forward. The idea is continuity. We understand that, even these 3 events aren't enough to really combat what we see in terms of the separation with respect to, financial gain or different levels of attainment with respect to finances or economic opportunity. And so the idea is after the third event to continue to do it over and over and over again. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we have great people who are already from Trenton or neighboring who moved into Mr. Styfax, Mr. Cuthbertson, Ms. Edwards, or yourself. And we want to ensure that our Trentonians, that our citizens, especially those of color, get this information, continue to get this information, and that it becomes a mainstream in their households, because that's the way that we start to build wealth and build our community up.
And so on Sundays and Mondays, you have the opportunity to be podcast out through YouTube and or Facebook with my marketing, and it's free. The other thing I want to ask quickly is you've listed the three. Run them again, just what the three are. What are they?
So we
Jesse.
have,
I feel like I've been talking a lot, y'all.
Come on, Jesse. The three workshop.
So November 6th is our personal finance, building wealth in our community event. Our second one is our entrepreneurship and business development workshop. And the third one is our closing the racial wealth gap seminar.
Let's close the gap. Let's close the gap. Tell me why, in 3 words or less, what's your impression of finances and wealth in African American communities mean? Just 3. For example, if you ask me, I would say, what's important to me is that the people who serve me look like me. What's important to me is that the dollars rotate in my community. What's important to me is A, B, C, D, and E. I want to see it happen here. They wouldn't come here if the money wasn't here. Come on, TC, bring it.
And I don't know if I can answer that question in 3 words or less, but the 3 concepts that pop in my head is legacy. We want to make sure that we are reversing the tide, reversing kind of like that downward trend that we've seen in our communities. We want to leave a legacy for our kids, our grandkids, or what have you. Secondly, the importance of financial literacy is just self-empowerment. Like, you have the ability to not only solve your problems, but you have the ability to solve problems of the people that are concerned for you or that you're concerned about. So you have access to giving a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge, and just generational principles that you can pass on to your kids, and that empowers yourself. And then thirdly, of course, just access to power, influence, and resources. You're able to affect and shift things that's happening on multiple different levels in multiple different areas around the globe when you have access to resources. I love being in the community, but I understand that what happens in my community is not only affected by what happens in my community. Things that's happening on a global scale affects what happens here in Trenton,
All politics
in Detroit,
are local.
in Philadelphia, in Atlanta,
Absolutely.
Georgia, right? So, we're not an island unto ourselves as a Black American. We're not just isolated in little small fiefdoms in this country. Like, what happens in Atlanta, what happens in Philadelphia, what happens in DC affects us. It affects the way we're perceived in the world. It affects the way that we interact with the world. So we can't just be single-minded in terms of finance and in terms of economic justice, economic empowerment. We need to be globally minded. And the more we can introduce those concepts to our community, I think it'll be a lot easier to convince folks to get on their financial grind, because, once we realize, hey, what's happening here and now is not just going to be for the here and now. It's transcendental. It's going to affect what's going on generations and generations down the line. So I think we need to really be effective in conveying that sentiment that financial literacy is not just for the here and now.
And that's important. And you've got quite a few people, watching you here tonight and commenting. I'm not responding to those comments because there's so much that you have to share tonight. But what I want to shout out from what you just said is this. If you're making money and you're not investing it wisely and you're not building your community, you're not making money. Come on, Tracy.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think when you talk about building legacy, and as TC said, leaving a legacy behind, I think, this financial literacy program is exactly what I would like to be remembered for having a part of. I think leaving a legacy, and I've had this conversation with a young group earlier that I had in my office about this same topic of what do we want to be left and what do we want to leave behind? And I think having the opportunity to work with this young generation and leave that legacy behind of financial literacy. Because if anybody reads From the Block to the Boardroom and Annette, you
I
know,
have it.
you
I
know
have
this.
the book.
19 in the 70s, we owned every business on Stuyvesant Avenue in the 70s.
That's right. And
Every
on Martin
single
Luther King
one. And I'm not
Boulevard.
talking 2 or 3 businesses. I'm talking 11
That's
or
right.
10 businesses on Stuyvesant Avenue.
Absolutely.
We have to get back to that. Jossie and Palmer and TC, you guys don't remember this, but Annette, we remember this. We have to get back to that, and that's my legacy.
Absolutely. And that in and of itself is the idea of creating a generational attitude about building wealth. Own it. Don't talk about it, be about it. Own it. If you're making money and you're not rebuilding your community, you're not making money. You're making noise. Come on, Jossie.
Um, First and foremost, I'm black before I'm anything else, and I'm always going to fight for my people, always. So economic justice is first and foremost to me. Just in this fight against, ending economic suppression and stopping redlining and things like that, bringing matters like that to the forefront and helping people to identify what's holding us back as a community within this legislation and within ourselves and within our educational systems. It's systemic. I could go on and on about what our problems are, but it's systemic, and you need to realize it's the whole system and not just bits and pieces. But for this matter, we're focusing on financial literacy and economics. So, secondly, I mean, I kind of said that part already. Just educating our people. Like I feel like TC said earlier, a calling. I feel like what what are you going to leave this world with? What's your legacy? What is your mark? What are you doing to contribute to making this a better place? And those are a lot of questions that I was asked growing up, and I had a lot of thinking to do. And I'm just like, it's a lot of things that I personally lacked that I felt like we could have been receiving had people just cared enough to share that information. I feel like a lot of people get this information and keep it to themselves, and that's not right and it's not fair. So just passing that, paying it for it, passing it back. So and empowering our people collectively. Like we don't have to always be by ourselves. It's not always I, it's we the people. We have to do this. One person can't build a house. One person can't buy Black the Block. It takes a team. And that's why it took a team and not just one person to even put these events together. Um, so it's just empowering the people and helping them to understand what our power is individually and collectively, and our economic power in this country and in our very communities, and helping to build it up better.
Thank you. Palmer.
Yeah, it's real simple. I'm actually going to borrow what my man from the Daily Show said. Um, it's wealth is influence. At the end of the day, it's the ability to influence and see what we want to see done. I had a mentor of mine who once said that, and I mean, he had a storied, still has a great career, a lot in public policy, and he said that if he could do it again, he would prefer to be the guy giving the money as opposed to the one asking for it.
Yeah.
The ability to give and direct where that money is allocated to and the issues that it supports is extremely important in our community. And that's why, I think that this information is extremely important. We're going to continue to push forward and ensure that it becomes an intrinsic part of our community. That's it.
The African American Cultural Collaborative of Mercer County and its partners mean business. If you're making money and you're not contributing to your community, you're making noise. And I don't care who you are, where you come from, and what you have. Our money matters. I'm going to wrap up here now. We went a little longer than I anticipated, but thank you for your time, your energy, your effort. The Cultural Collaborative and its partners are getting it done. We have agreed that money matters. Imagine if just 100 of us took $10,000 and invested it together in the pool, what would happen? Oh my. Imagine, imagine what's happening right now. Most people want to run for office. That's a good place to be. I've been there. Palmer can attest to it through his uncle. I've been there. It's fun. It's annoying. It's haggling. It's intruding. It's everything you don't want it to be. But in politics is not where you make the difference. It's not. And we did some good work, Palmer and I, but that's not where you make the difference. In making the difference, you help your community understand the impact of policy and that all politics are local. And if you're going to do anything in a collaborative, remember there must be principles and policy before politics. Everywhere you go. We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to ask you to give me one statement, one thing you want the audience to remember about you. Make it short. What is it, Palmer?
Just that, I'm excited to be here. And I'm excited to work with this team and excited to do and present all the great work that we will do and present.
Thank you. TC.
Yeah, just to raise your expectation. I think we don't have the right expectation when it comes to our community. So I think when people see me and when they think about me, raise your expectation of what you're expecting to receive from me, because I expect to meet that. So that's it. Thanks, Annette, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Jossie.
I mean, ditto of what TC said. Raising your expectations of myself, but something about me, know that I hold myself accountable for everything, but I also hold other people around them accountable as well. So when something's missing in your life, if you're constantly complaining about, oh, this isn't paying me enough, or oh, I want to get out of my mom's house, or I want to start this business, like do it. And know if you're saying that within my vicinity, I'm going to push you to do it. So this right here is our gift to the community, is holding yourself accountable and applying that pressure.
Apply the pressure. Thank you. Tracy.
No, I'll just leave you with this and that. 8 out of 10 millionaires started out broke.
That's right.
8 out of 10 millionaires started out broke. I was one of them. Y'all need to be at this free event.
Be at the event, raise the accountability, hold yourself to a higher standard. Understand that if you're making money and you're not building your community, you're making noise. Bring it back to the community. Policy before politics. Elected office is a great place to be. You can make a bigger impact from the inside out. Understand politics. Understand that all politics are local. Understand that working with people and partnerships is what builds the dream. Don't give up. There's so much opportunity and hope out there, and there are witnesses before you tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annette Latigue. I am your host here at What Trenton Really Makes, and I want you guys to showcase on at What Trenton Really Makes. I want you to showcase who and what you are and what you're doing. Get out of politics and get in the business of building wealth. I appreciate you. To the African American Culture Collaborative of Mercer County and your partners, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I would sing, but I think it's a little late. Have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. We mean business.
Thank you so much, Annette. Can I just say one thing before we dismiss? I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the leadership on this team, Palmer, Jossie, and Latarsha Burke. They've done a phenomenal job at just organizing this whole thing, so they need to be publicly acknowledged. You guys are awesome.
They are awesome. And so are you. Keep doing what you're doing. Tracy, I want to get each of you back individually on a Sunday or Monday night. Let me know when you're available. You can inbox me at coachingyouforyou@gmail.com. I don't mind boosting you out. I think that in order for us to succeed, we have to work together. We have to be in partnership. Hey, Delaware, New York, Philadelphia, Mercer County, and everywhere near Tarmac. We're going to be there, and these guys are going to be on it. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.